Existentialism. Existentialism is a philosophy that emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and the search for meaning in an indifferent or absurd world. It argues that people are free to shape their destinies through their actions and must take responsibility for their choices without relying on predetermined paths or external authorities. Existentialists believe that anxiety and despair are natural outcomes of realizing life's inherent meaninglessness, but these feelings can lead to authentic living. Key figures include Jean-Paul Sartre, who coined the phrase "existence precedes essence," and Albert Camus, known for the myth of Sisyphus. A cool fact, existentialist ideas have influenced modern literature, film, and even video games, like Life is Strange. Utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that suggests the best action is the one that maximizes overall happiness, or utility. Founded by Jeremy Bentham and further developed by John Stuart Mill, it advocates for the greatest good for the greatest number. Utilitarianism assesses actions based on their consequences, emphasizing overall well-being. Examples include public policies, like vacation programs that prioritize collective health, or economic decisions that maximize societal benefits. Cool facts. Mill introduced the concept of higher intellectual and lower bodily pleasures, arguing that intellectual pleasures contribute more significantly to happiness. Utilitarianism has greatly influenced modern economics, public policy, and debates on moral dilemmas, like the trolley problem. Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as means of overcoming destructive emotions. Founded in ancient Greece by Zeno of Citium, it emphasizes living in harmony with nature and accepting life's challenges with equanimity. Examples of Stoic principles include focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot, as well as practicing gratitude and mindfulness. Cool facts. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, whose Meditations is a key Stoic text, was a famous Stoic. Stoicism has influenced modern practices, like cognitive behavioral therapy, and has seen a resurgence in personal development, particularly in fostering resilience and mental toughness. Nihilism. Nihilism is a philosophical belief that life lacks inherent meaning, purpose, or value. It often rejects moral, religious, and social norms, viewing them as baseless or arbitrary. Nihilism can be divided into several types, such as existential nihilism, which argues that life is without objective meaning, and moral nihilism, which denies absolute moral values. Examples include the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche, who famously declared God is dead, reflecting the collapse of traditional values. Cool facts. Despite its seemingly pessimistic outlook, nihilism has influenced art, literature, and film, inspiring works like Fight Club and The Stranger by Albert Camus, and has led to existentialism, which seeks to create personal meaning. Platonism. Platonism is a philosophical theory developed by Plato that posits the existence of abstract, non-material forms, or ideas, that are the most accurate reality. According to Platonism, the physical world we perceive is merely a shadow or imperfect copy of these external forms. For example, a circle drawn on paper is just an imperfect representation of the perfect, abstract form of a circle that exists beyond our sensory experience. Cool facts. Plato's theory of forms has influenced Western thought, especially in philosophy, mathematics, and theology. His work laid the groundwork for future philosophical discussions on reality and knowledge, inspiring philosophers from Aristotle to modern thinkers like Alfred North Whitehead. Kantianism. Kantianism, also known as deontological ethics, is a moral philosophy developed by Immanuel Kant that focuses on the importance of duty and rules. Unlike ethical theories that consider the consequences of actions, Kantianism argues that some actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of the outcomes. The core idea is the categorical imperative, which means you should act according to principles that you would want everyone else to follow universally. For example, lying is always wrong in Kantian ethics, because it can't be universally accepted as a rule. This philosophy emphasizes treating people with respect and never using them as a means to an end. Aristotelianism. Aristotelianism, based on the teachings of Aristotle, is a philosophy that emphasizes understanding the world through observation and reason. Aristotle believed that everything in nature has a purpose, or telos, and that fulfilling this purpose leads to a good life. Central to Aristotelianism is the concept of virtue ethics, which focuses on developing good character traits, virtues like courage, temperance, and wisdom. According to Aristotle, living virtuously involves finding a balance between extremes, known as the golden mean. For example, bravery lies between recklessness and cowardice. Aristotelianism has influenced ethics, politics, and science by highlighting the importance of practical wisdom and moral development in achieving a flourishing life. Empiricism. Empiricism is a philosophy that asserts knowledge comes primarily from sensory experience, what we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. Unlike rationalism, which emphasizes reason and innate ideas, empiricism argues that our understanding of the world is built through direct observation and experimentation. Key figures like John Locke, George Berkeley, and David Hume champion this view, suggesting that our minds start as a blank slate, and that knowledge is acquired through experience. For example, learning that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius comes from observing this phenomenon repeatedly, not from abstract reasoning. Empiricism has greatly influenced the development of the scientific method and modern research. Rationalism. Rationalism is a philosophy that emphasizes reason and logic as the primary sources of knowledge. According to rationalists, some truths about the world can be known through intellectual thought alone, rather than relying on sensory experience. Key figures like René Descartes and Baruch Spinoza argue that reason can uncover fundamental truths about reality. For example, Descartes' famous statement, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, reflects the idea that self-awareness and existence can be established through reason. Rationalism contrasts with empiricism, which stresses observation and experience. Overall, rationalism has shaped modern philosophy by highlighting the importance of logical reasoning in understanding the world. Epicureanism. Epicureanism is a philosophy founded by Epicurus that focuses on achieving happiness through the pursuit of simple pleasures and the avoidance of pain. According to Epicureanism, a tranquil and pleasurable life is best achieved by seeking intellectual joys, forming meaningful friendships, and living modestly. The philosophy teaches that fear of gods and death causes unnecessary distress, so understanding that these fears are unfounded can lead to greater peace of mind. Epicurus emphasized the importance of mental well-being over physical indulgence, advocating for a life of moderation and reflection. By reducing unnecessary desires and focusing on what brings genuine contentment, Epicureanism aims to cultivate a serene and fulfilling life. Postmodernism. Postmodernism is a philosophical movement that emerged in the late 20th century, questioning traditional ideas about truth, reality, and knowledge. Unlike modernism, which sought objective truths and universal meanings, postmodernism argues that truth is subjective and varies based on perspective and context. It emphasizes the idea that narratives, beliefs, and social constructs are not fixed, but are shaped by culture, power, and language. Postmodernism often challenges grand theories and ideologies, promoting diversity of viewpoints. For example, in art and literature, it might mix styles and blur boundaries to reflect this idea that reality is fragmented and constructed. It has influenced many fields, including literature, art, and architecture. Phenomenology. Phenomenology is a philosophy developed by Edmund Husserl that focuses on studying human experience from the first-person perspective. It aims to understand how we perceive and interpret the world without making assumptions about the external reality. Instead of analyzing objects directly, phenomenology examines how these objects appear to us and how we experience them. For example, it explores how we experience time, space, and emotions. Phenomenologists study the essence of experiences, like how we perceive beauty or feel joy. This approach has influenced fields like psychology and cognitive science by emphasizing the subjective nature of our interactions with the world and seeking to uncover the fundamental structures of consciousness. Relativism. Relativism is the belief that truth and morality are not absolute, but depend on individual perspectives, cultures, or contexts. According to relativism, what is considered right or true can vary from person to person, or from one culture to another. For example, cultural relativism suggests that moral standards are shaped by cultural norms, so practices considered acceptable in one culture might be seen as wrong in another. This philosophy challenges the idea of universal truths or values, promoting tolerance and understanding of different viewpoints. However, critics argue that relativism can lead to contradictions or difficulties in resolving moral disagreements, as it questions the existence of any objective standards. Pragmatism. Pragmatism is a philosophy that evaluates ideas and beliefs based on their practical effects and usefulness, rather than their abstract or theoretical qualities. Founded by Charles Sanders Peirce and developed by William James and John Dewey, pragmatism suggests that the truth of an idea is determined by how well it works in real-world situations. For example, if a scientific theory consistently predicts outcomes accurately and helps solve problems, it is considered true in pragmatism. This philosophy values practical results and flexible thinking, encouraging people to adopt ideas that prove effective and beneficial in practice. Pragmatism focuses on how ideas impact action and decision-making, rather than on their inherent correctness. Structuralism. Structuralism is a theory that examines human culture and society through underlying structures, like language and social systems. Founded by Ferdinand de Saussure in linguistics and expanded by Claude Lévi-Strauss in anthropology, structuralism argues that elements of culture, such as language and social practices, can be understood by analyzing their relationships and roles within a larger system. For example, Saussure's ideas about how words gain meaning through their differences from other words emphasize the role of language structures. Structuralism seeks to uncover the deep, often hidden patterns that shape human thought and behavior, suggesting that these patterns are more important than individual elements themselves.